Welcome to Explore the Southeast. In today's video, we'll be discussing something really important. If you're planning on dating a Filipina, you should know this. 10 reasons why Filipinas like the dog-style position. This video is made for fun, entertainment, and to educate you so you can improve your relationships with a Filipina. Before we begin, let's get one thing clear. Of course, not all Filipinas are the same. The Philippines is a country of more than 7,000 islands, dozens of languages, and wildly different personalities, upbringings, and values. Preferences vary from person to person, just like anywhere else in the world. This video is not about stereotypes. It's about commonly shared experiences that come up repeatedly in real relationships, anonymous forums, private conversations, and long-term partnerships, especially between Filipinas and foreign men. Consider this as context rather than a rule book. If you've ever dated or even spent meaningful time in a relationship in the Philippines, there's a moment many foreign men quietly experience. It usually comes after the honeymoon phase, after the polite dinners, after the shyness fades, after the soft voices, reserved public behavior, and careful first impressions. At some point, something clicks. Your initial assumptions don't fully align with reality. Many foreigners arrive in the Philippines expecting conservatism to mean passivity, or modesty to mean a lack of personal desire or preference. The culture appears traditional on the surface, family-oriented, values-driven, and outwardly reserved. And in many ways, it truly is. But beneath that surface is something far more layered. Filipinas, like women everywhere, are individuals with clear likes, dislikes, boundaries, and confidence, especially once trust and emotional safety are established. What surprises many outsiders isn't boldness, but comfort. Comfort that grows inside private spaces, within committed relationships, and behind closed doors where social expectations no longer apply. Today's conversation explores why many Filipinas openly enjoy the dog-style position and why, when viewed through the lens of Filipino culture, communication styles, and relationship norms, it actually makes sense. This isn't about being provocative or chasing shock value. It's about understanding how culture, trust, and emotional connection shape behavior in ways that outsiders often misread. Here are 10 reasons why Filipinas like the dog-style position. The number 10th reason is the absolute shocker, so stick around till the end in order to find out. The number 1 reason has to do with less pressure, more comfort. One of the most common reasons comes down to something simple yet deeply powerful: comfort. And not just physical comfort, emotional comfort. Many Filipinas grow up in environments where open conversations about desire, preferences, or intimacy are limited. Discussions around sex are often indirect, avoided altogether, or framed through moral expectations rather than honest communication. As a result, expressing desire openly doesn't always come naturally at first. Because of this, situations that demand intense eye contact, constant verbal feedback, or overt emotional display can sometimes feel overwhelming, not uncomfortable, just intense. The dog-style position that allows someone to relax, stay grounded, and focus inward without feeling watched or evaluated often feels more natural. There's less pressure to act a certain way, say the right things, or constantly respond. There's no need to perform, no need to impress, no need to manage expectations in the moment. That sense of ease matters. When emotional pressure fades, the body relaxes. When the mind feels safe, enjoyment follows naturally. Comfort becomes more than a preference, it becomes the foundation. And when safety is present, genuine pleasure has room to grow. Reason number 2 has to do with shyness not equaling inexperience. Let me explain. This is one of the biggest misunderstandings many foreigners bring with them. Filipinos are often perceived as soft-spoken, polite, reserved in public, and non-confrontational, especially in the early stages of dating. These traits are real, but they're often misunderstood. Outward modesty does not equal insecurity, passivity, or a lack of confidence. For many Filipinos, privacy is where confidence truly lives. The contrast between public restraint and private openness isn't accidental, it's intentional. Social settings call for respect, subtlety, and emotional control. Private spaces, however, allow freedom without judgment or expectation. The dog-style position makes it possible to express desire without needing verbal dominance, exaggerated reactions, or constant visual engagement. That kind of expression can feel empowering rather than restrictive. It's not about hiding or holding back. It's about choosing when, where, and how to express oneself on one's own terms. And that distinction is often what outsiders miss. The number 3 reason has to do with cultural modesty, private freedom. Family approval matters. Religion plays a role in daily life. Respectability is important. But what outsiders often miss is this. Filipino culture places strong value on privacy and trust. Once trust is built, private behavior doesn't need to reflect public expectations. What happens behind closed doors exists in a separate, protected space. This separation between public image and private intimacy is not seen as conflict, but as a healthy balance. It allows personal freedom while still honoring cultural and family boundaries. The dog style simply fit within that private space. It isn't hypocrisy, it's harmony, reserved in public, confident in private life. Reason number 4. The dog-style position feels natural, not theatrical, just like they belong on a movie set. Movie sets demand perfect timing, precise angles, good lighting, and constant awareness of how everything looks. But many Filipinas tend to prefer intimacy that feels natural rather than staged, something instinctive, something that doesn't require nonstop adjustment or performance. When intimacy flows easily, it removes pressure and distraction. There's no need to think about appearances or technique, only connection. This preference reflects a wider cultural value, authenticity over display. When moments feel unforced, people stay present instead of self-conscious. That grounded presence creates comfort, trust, and emotional ease. And when those elements are there, the experience doesn't just feel physical, it feels real. The 5th reason has to do with less focus on body insecurities. Body image pressure exists everywhere, and the Philippines is no exception. From social media filters to beauty ideals tied to skin tone, weight, and body proportions, many women grow up internalizing expectations about how they should look. Those pressures don't disappear in intimate moments. The dog-style position, however, reduces visual self-monitoring. There's less focus on angles, fewer comparisons, and quieter inner commentary. Without the constant awareness of being seen, attention naturally shifts. The mind relaxes. Focus moves toward physical sensation, comfort, and emotional closeness instead. For many people, that shift away from appearance and toward connection feels deeply freeing and reassuring. The sixth reason why Filipinas like the dog position has to do with emotional safety. In Filipino culture, emotional connection often comes before physical openness. Intimacy is rarely treated as something separate from trust. Many Filipinas don't approach closeness the same way some Western dating cultures do, where physical chemistry may come first and emotions follow later. Instead, emotional safety lays the foundation. Once trust is established, preferences tend to emerge more naturally and with greater confidence. The dog style feels more comfortable because they is less confrontational, less emotionally exposing, and more controlled. That control isn't about power or dominance. It's about security. Feeling secure allows the mind to relax. When there's no fear of judgment or pressure to perform, people can stay present in the moment. That sense of safety creates space for comfort, connection, and genuine enjoyment. When emotional grounding is in place, intimacy feels less stressful and far more meaningful. The number 7 reason why Filipinos like the dog style position is that it matches the go-with-the-flow mentality. Filipino culture is often described as adaptable and easygoing. You'll frequently hear phrases like bahala na, okay lang, or we'll see, reflecting a relaxed approach to life. That flexibility naturally carries over into relationships as well. Intimacy that allows changes in rhythm, pauses, and a natural pace fits comfortably within this mindset. There's no urgency to perform or follow a fixed script, no pressure to rush or meet expectations. Instead, the focus is on responding to what feels right in the moment. This openness creates space for comfort and connection, where experiences unfold organically rather than being forced into a rigid structure. Eighth reason has to do with trust. Trust changes everything. This is a turning point many foreigners don't see coming. Once real trust is established, many Filipinas become far more expressive than their early dating behavior might suggest. What begins as reserved, careful, and understated can gradually transform into confidence, warmth, and genuine enthusiasm. Early restraint isn't a lack of interest, it's a form of self-protection. When comfort grows, that restraint often fades. The dog-style position is commonly misunderstood as passive, but in reality, it's often chosen because it symbolizes trust. Trust to be vulnerable. Trust to feel safe. Trust to relax control and be fully present. It reflects emotional security as much as physical closeness. For many foreigners, this shift is surprising, not because it comes out of nowhere, but because they mistake early modesty for a fixed personality rather than the beginning of a deeper connection. Number 9. Reason why Filipinas like the dog-style position has to do with real-life living situations. This is something people rarely acknowledge but quietly shape real relationships. Practicality. Many couples in the Philippines live in small apartments, shared family homes, boarding houses, or places with very limited personal space. Privacy isn't always guaranteed, and walls are often thin. These realities influence behavior far more than most people are willing to admit. Because of this, the dog style, which is quicker, adaptable, and space-efficient, naturally becomes more common over time. It's not about being restrictive, it's about being realistic. Real relationships don't unfold in luxury hotel rooms or idealized settings. They happen in everyday spaces, with real constraints and shared surroundings. Couples learn to adjust, communicate, and choose what fits their environment. As living conditions shape daily life, they also shape intimacy. Preferences aren't random. They evolve in response to context. What works smoothly, comfortably, and discreetly often becomes what feels most natural and preferred. And last but not least, the 10th reason is that preferences are shared quietly, not publicly. Filipinas generally don't talk openly about intimate preferences, especially not in public spaces or online under their real identities. Cultural values around modesty and privacy still play a strong role, shaping how these topics are approached or avoided altogether. However, in private conversations, trusted friendships, and long-term relationships, certain patterns quietly emerge. When people feel safe enough to speak honestly, their priorities become clearer. One theme comes up again and again. Comfort and connection matter far more than spectacle. Preferences are rarely about performance, exaggeration, or copying what's seen in media. Instead, they center on feeling secure, emotionally connected, and genuinely understood by a partner. Being relaxed and present matters more than doing something flashy or dramatic. In these spaces of trust, intimacy becomes less about appearances and more about shared understanding. What's valued most is not what looks impressive, but what feels natural, reassuring, and real. In conclusion, this isn't about stereotypes. It's not about submissiveness, dominance, or assumptions. It's about something deeper, something that shapes how people connect, interact, and feel safe in relationships. It's about culture, the shared habits, values, and norms that influence behavior. It's about comfort, the little things that make someone feel at ease and accepted. It's about emotional safety, the ability to express yourself without fear of judgment or rejection. And it's about trust, the foundation that allows vulnerability to thrive. When you understand these layers, you begin to see why certain actions, choices, or reactions happen. Misunderstandings fade, and relationships become healthier, more respectful, and more fulfilling. If you've experienced these moments firsthand, it makes sense now why they feel the way they do. Insight like this isn't just knowledge, it's a tool for connection. And if this resonates with you, you can watch the next video on What Do Filipinas Want in Bed?